Hello, everyone, and welcome to our workshop on practical steps for zero carbon buildings and finance. My name is Rusmir Music, and I am the Global Business Development Lead for the EDGE program. I am pleased to be joined today by two guest speakers, Alessandra Sorujon, who is the Senior Analyst for Strategy and Development for ClimateSeed, and Milena Milosavljevic, who is ProCredit Holding Group Environmental Management. Before we start, a few notes about our webinar. The webinar is being recorded. Materials will be shared in a few hours once the system generates the recording. The recording will be posted on the EDGE YouTube channel. During the webinar, please use the question and answer the Q&A feature to ask questions. You can submit questions at any point during the webinar, and if you cannot get to all of the questions, we will send answers via email. At the end of the presentation, before we turn to questions, we'll ask you to fill out our feedback survey, which helps us improve our delivery. I'm so pleased that this webinar is co-promoted by a number of leading institutions in the building space, including associations, NGOs, other development banks, and our network of green building councils. This co-sponsorship shows how important this topic is to everyone. Our agenda today includes several main sections. After I introduce IFC's Green Building Program, we will look into understanding the need and the business case for zero carbon buildings. This will include understanding the definitions for each. We will illustrate these through the EDGE software demo and certification process. ClimateSeed will present the process for claiming credits and offsets for building emissions or footprint that cannot be reduced on site. We will have several case studies of green finance, and at the end, we'll have question and answer time. Before I start, let me introduce IFC. We are a member of the World Bank Group focused on investments in the private sector. IFC's Green Building Program is a systematic approach to sustainable buildings. It is a four-part strategy that includes working in banks, investing directly into the building sector, advising governments on green building codes and incentives, and the EDGE certification program. As you can see, we have been very successful in this space, including almost $6.4 billion in investments and 17 million meters square of certified space. Why are we so heavily invested in green buildings? We know that climate change cannot be solved without tackling buildings. Large portions of the population are moving into cities, rapidly growing in emerging markets. An equivalent of the city of Paris is added every 5 days, and that of Japan every year. According to the IPCC reports, by 2030, all new buildings must be zero carbon, and all buildings, new and old, must be zero carbon by 2050. Some leading experts, such as Architecture 2030, believe that the deadline is even sooner, by 2040. Either way, we only have a few years to change the paradigm. At the same time, 80% of viable potential is untapped, even though technical solutions exist today. But $9 trillion in assets managed by the world's largest investors have been committed to net zero action. The opportunity is large. The good news is that both lenders and developers are creating innovative financial products for green buildings, and they are finding a strong business case in this sector. World Green Building Council tracks 94 businesses that have already committed to net zero action. These include large global companies such as Starbucks, Nike, and Microsoft, as well as investors such as UBS and Fidelity, which manage the $9 trillion in finance I already mentioned. In construction, developers and building owners are finding that greening a project allows access into international green finance flows and many other benefits. IFC is now working with banks to launch green mortgages for homes, and we're helping clients to access capital markets through green bonds, green loans, and even new products such as REITs. IFC is documenting the business case for green buildings across the stakeholders, including benefits such as lower incremental costs than previously thought, faster sales, higher rental prices or occupancy rates, and opportunity to gain cheaper financing. We share these in our flagship Green Buildings paper and through case studies on our website. When we send you a copy of this presentation shortly after the webinar, you will be able to find resources dedicated to your needs. They are already available from the EDGE website at edgebuildings.com. One case study of successful action is our first EDGE certified project, ArthaLand, a large developer in the Philippines. This project shows that high levels of green ambition can be achieved in emerging markets, not only in industrialized countries, and they can be financed through green finance. ArthaLand's first project, an office building, achieved significant energy savings on site, 45%, and is purchasing renewable energy for 100% carbon neutral operations. ArthaLand has launched a green bond in the Philippines for certified green projects. The bond had a lot of interest from investors, and the size of the bond had to be increased to eventually a total of 59 million USD. ArthaLand was the first non-bank issuer of green bonds in the Philippines. For their achievements, ArthaLand received special recognition for advancing net zero from the World Green Building Council and was a finalist for the Financial Times Transformational Business Awards. The EDGE website has a library of zero carbon as well as EDGE Advanced case studies, which can be used for promotion and proof of concept, again available from edgebuildings.com. Despite our early successes, there is an urgent need to scale up action. I mentioned the World Green Building Council tracks 94 businesses and organizations who have pledged to reach net zero emissions in buildings in the near future. They are joined by 28 cities and 6 states and regions. Yet, despite these high-level commitments, there are only just 418 buildings globally that have achieved net zero status, mostly in industrialized countries. We believe the EDGE program can offer a path forward to scale up net zero action across the world. EDGE stands for Excellence in Design for Greater Efficiencies. EDGE is an innovation of IFC. That means that while we administer the program, IFC is not the ultimate provider of certifications or provider of technical assistance. We will show you how you can access relevant resources in your country through our network of partners. EDGE consists of 3 components. First, we have the free software that allows for opportunity for self-assessment. We're able to launch the software for free due to generosity of our government donors. The ability for self-assessment is a game changer. Building developers or building owners now can know right away whether they meet the green criteria, and they can find the most cost-effective ways to reach the standard. Second, EDGE integrates environmental impact data with financial data. This is because EDGE was the first system designed and launched by a bank. IFC is first and foremost an investment bank. You can now understand your upfront costs and how quickly you can pay it back. And third, EDGE is a certification system to verify and reward green building projects through a green label. The label has been accepted by leading standard-setting institutions, including International Capital Markets Association, Climate Bonds Initiative, and our 2 cross-promoters of this webinar, GRESB and CDP. EDGE certification is possible for new and existing buildings, for retrofits, and across all the sectors. With the launch of our version 3, EDGE is now a fully global tool available in any country. EDGE is laser focused on 3 categories of efficiency: energy, water, and materials. Edge also has a lot of data that defines the baselines that are location-specific and sector-specific. Within sectors, we even have differentiation for socioeconomic level. For example, a residential project in Mongolia is going to have a very different baseline than a hotel project in Ghana. And in Ghana, a 2-star hotel will be very different from a 5-star resort. The EDGE methodology is publicly available on our website. We also did a technical webinar with the Climate Bonds Initiative, which we also share when you receive this presentation, all available from the EDGE YouTube channel. In the EDGE version 3 we just launched, the baseline has been updated to recognize strategies that have now become business as usual, such as, for example, LED lighting. Every EDGE certified project saves on resource efficiency, but there are 3 levels to reward those who go above and beyond. To reach EDGE certification level 1, a project must achieve 20% resource reduction in all 3 of our categories: energy, water, and materials. This 20% level is consistent with international green finance criteria, as I mentioned, set by the institutions you can see below. If you reach this level and you're able to certify your project, you become eligible for the entire cost of the building to be financed by international green finance, including new finance or refinance. Notice that the project must be certified and must have quantified impact reporting. But IFC and other international institutions do require various certification mechanisms, not just EDGE. We just believe that EDGE is your best path forward. The next level is EDGE Advanced. Because of the focus on carbon, we emphasize getting to the energy savings that are at least 40% on-site. Water and materials can continue to be at least 20% better than the baseline, though we do encourage clients to achieve even more. We consider this level zero carbon ready. That means that any project that has achieved EDGE Advanced status today can in the future be eligible for zero carbon certification, which is an operational certificate. And how will they get there? After achieving 40% on-site efficiency, the project can top up the rest of its carbon footprint through renewable energy procurement, credits, or carbon offsets. Zero carbon requires to first get the EDGE Advanced Asset Certification and then look into the operational certification for zero emissions. This definition for zero carbon is consistent with approaches such as the World Resources Institute and Architecture 2030, with whom IFC worked to develop our internal standard. First of all, EDGE Zero Carbon is a deeply quantitative approach, which allows building owners to understand their footprint and their option for action, comparing resource impacts with financial impacts. Second, the philosophy ensures that we focus on on-site efficiency before off-site renewables and carbon offsets. This ensures that we don't take an energy-guzzling building and just connect it to a source of renewable energy. We must focus on lowering demand so that we can have abundant supply for everyone. Let me illustrate this process through a demo of the EDGE app. I'm going to look away because I have 2 screens, and I will show you the information on the EDGE website. The EDGE software is available from the EDGE website, edgebuildings.com. When I click here, it will open up the EDGE app, which I have already opened. Notice that the EDGE app is available in multiple languages. That means that projects around the world can utilize information in their native language before proceeding. I mentioned that we have already launched EDGE version 3. We did this last December. However, because this is still in beta testing, I'm going to demo today in Edge version 2, but you can start working with your projects in Edge version 3. Edge version 3 will become the default version in about March of this year. Today, I'm modeling an office building in Ghana, Accra. You can see it here. And I've already worked out some information for my materials, water, and energy section. Notice that I'm accepting Edge default values for this particular office building. But when you start modeling, you'll be able to override that information here. I'm finding the offices here, so other sectors are available from here. Let me start on the water section because that's the one that's the easiest to understand. I mentioned that Edge creates the base case that is particular to your location and to your particular building type, as well as socioeconomics. I have already selected a few things that have reduced my footprint. You can see I've reduced my footprint here and here, and I'm at about 19% water savings through very sensible measures such as low flow faucets and dual flush. If I keep going, I should be able to reach the Edge standard. You can see here 23%. If I don't know what these measures mean, I'm going to click here to open up the short user guide, and then I can click on more info to open up the entire user guide. This will open up in the particular language if I was doing this not in English. The user guide will show approaches, measures, as well as the compliance guide. When I'm ready to certify, I would upload my documents right here. And my interface will change based on the type of the information that I have to enter, and it will change whether this building is being certified on design or in post-construction. The materials section is a little bit different. I'll do that one next. Here, because we have to have walls, we have to have roofs, we have to have floors, the choices are not click and unclick, such as on the energy and the water side, but they are a pull-down menu. And I can choose from a very large menu of choices to satisfy my materials section. And I have done that with in-situ concrete with 30% fly ash, and I've reached the edge standard here. I have done the same on energy, where I have played with a number of different strategies to get me to the Edge standard. I could now go ahead and certify this project because I have met the Edge standard across the different subcategories: energy, water, and materials. However, I'm interested in going further into Edge zero carbon. So let's keep going. I can do something that is a measure such as reduced window to wall ratio. I'm going to take a look at insulation and external shading device. Let's keep going. And you can see as I click and unclick how quickly Edge calculates my information. For every one of these measures, Edge is calculating my base case utility cost for this building. Obviously, this was on that standardized building. You can do your own. It is calculating my utility cost reduction. It is calculating my incremental cost and the payback in years. So this means now, as a building owner of this particular building, I will very quickly pay back all of my investment into this work. Let's see, and I'm going to finally take a look at some of my HVAC strategies, such as air conditioning with water-cooled chillers. You can see now that I have reached the Edge Advanced status right here. And again, you can see exactly how I have achieved that particular part. I'm at this point ready to certify this building as Edge Advanced, but if I want to go more toward zero carbon, notice that this particular field has opened up for me, as well as here. I can now take a look into, can I satisfy some of my energy needs on-site through on-site solar PV? Notice that a lot that we have done was actually through energy demand, reducing that first. And then I can take a look at off-site energy procurement equal to 100% of CO2. And if I had some fossil fuels on site for heating or cooking, I would have clicked here for carbon offsets. I can download this file as an Edge PDF, and that's going to give me all of my information. Again, the beauty of Edge is that it's both an environmental and a financial decision-making tool. And so you can see that the Edge PDF is giving me all of my info here, both my footprint and my reductions. It is highlighting the measures that I have chosen for energy, water, and materials. And at the end, it's going to give me my compliance requirements before I move on into certification. So truly, Edge is a one-stop process that includes all of the information that you need. Let me turn back to the PowerPoint to show you exactly how this certification process works and a few more pieces of information. I showed you how to do a new building in the Edge app, and this is the process for an existing building and retrofits. Step 1 would mean instead of the Edge defaults, you need to model the building as is. Notice that in this example, the building is 15% worse than the local baseline. Step 2 would mean incorporating retrofits that get you past the baseline for a 20% improvement over new buildings. This building is 23% better than the baseline and 38% better than its original condition. Finally, in step 3, in the materials section, you choose a reuse of materials. We will have more standalone education on how to process existing buildings, but I wanted to quickly show you the option for this process. We understand that not all efficiency can happen on-site. That is why Edge has a way to get you all the way to zero carbon, including off-site action. Operational emissions can come from electricity or fuels for heating and cooking. Electricity generated from renewable sources can be directly purchased from an independent power producer. If that is not possible, you can purchase renewable energy credits. Emissions from fuels can be offset by purchasing carbon credits. Edge currently is an operational zero carbon certificate. That is because we calculate materials as embodied energy. The conversion to embodied carbon is very simple, and this will be automated in future Edge updates. That means that you can then do zero carbon certification throughout. IFC works with several accepted providers of RECs and offsets. We will hear in just a bit from Climate Seed about their particular offer. Now that we have gone through the Edge app and how to go beyond on-site efficiency, let me show you how to put it all together to achieve the zero carbon certification. Step 1, you will need to certify your project as Edge Advanced. This certification will examine your design and post-construction site visit to ensure there's at least 40% on-site energy efficiency. Step 2, your building needs to be operational for at least 1 year with robust usage data. Step 3, you will match your emissions calculated through utility data with procurement of renewable energy, credits, or offsets. This process needs to be repeated every 2 years if you have off-site credits, and every 4 years if you have on-site renewables, to ensure that demand still matches the supply through the operation of the building. Here's another way to look at the Edge certification flow. Projects receive both a preliminary Edge certificate at the design stage and final Edge certification at the post-construction stage. The post-construction certificate is considered an asset certification and does not need to be renewed. The zero carbon certificate is an operational certificate which needs to be renewed periodically, as I mentioned. The cost of Edge Advanced certification is about $10,000 US. That is a one-time fee, and there's more information available on our website. the cost of renewing the zero carbon certification is only about $500 as it is a much simpler compliance process. So now we return over to our partners for Climate Seed to describe exactly how a building can procure renewable energy or get carbon credits for its emissions. Alessandra, you can go ahead, turn on your video, and I'm going to turn you over and make you a presenter right now.
Great, thank you very much. I'll just wait for that. Okay, perfect. So you should all be able to see my screen. Thank you very much for having me today. So thank you, Rosemary. As I'm here today to present Climate Seed. So I'm Alessandra Sorjon. I'm a senior analyst at Climate Seed, which is a social business that really wants to bring transparency to the voluntary carbon market. So we know that buildings have a significant impact to global greenhouse gas emissions. So as mentioned by Rosemary, the building sector accounts for about 19% of global greenhouse gas emissions. But where exactly are these emissions coming from? So there are two main sources of emissions in buildings. On the one hand, we have the direct emissions, which are emissions from fossil fuel combustion. So basically from on-site equipment, gas for heating and cooking, as well as leakages from cooling. And then on the other hand, we have the indirect emissions, which are for the most part coming from the building's electricity, which this accounts for 78% of total building energy consumption. So basically, after reduction efforts through the EDGE app, the EDGE certification, and really to reach that level 3 zero carbon buildings, you need to compensate for your residual emissions. So what can you do? For direct residual emissions, you can do so by purchasing carbon credits, while for indirect emissions, indirect residual emissions related to electricity, you can purchase renewable energy certificates. So to give you a little bit more detail on the different approaches, so we have on one hand, renewable energy certificates, which are also known as RECs. And basically what they are is that they're tradable certificates that are generated by renewable energy. So this is generated by, for example, solar, wind, thermal, biomass, and hydropower projects. And they are actually measured in megawatt hours. So these can be purchased to account for electricity emissions. So what this means is that you're greening your electricity mix. And these can help you reduce these specific emissions. So as you can see here on the map, they are called differently across different countries. So they're known also as guarantees of origins, RECs, as I mentioned, IRECs. So depending on where you are, they might have a different name. And regarding the price, that may also vary depending on your location. So as you can see, in Europe, we're looking at 40 cents, while in the US at 1.90 cents. And this is per megawatt hour. And the prices tend to be very volatile. Well, on the other hand, what we have is voluntary carbon credits, also called offsets. And they are actually generated from emission reduction projects that either capture or avoid CO2 emissions. So basically what this means is that one carbon credit represents 1 ton of CO2 either avoided or captured by your project. And one of the huge benefits from these types of projects is that they not only have environmental impacts, but also social ones. And these social impacts are directly linked with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So as mentioned, these carbon credits can actually be used to compensate for all residual emissions. So this is both direct and indirect emissions. And the types of projects can vary. So there's different types of emission reduction projects. So for example, right now, a very popular one is nature-based solution projects. And these are reforestation, afforestation, forest conservation projects. We also have renewable energy, energy efficiency, community-based agriculture, waste and water management. And the price for these are per ton of CO2 equivalent, and also can vary a lot. So this one varies depending on the project size, the project typology, and the project location. So as you can see here on the table, these are average prices. So for example, renewable energy can go from 1.4 euro, and this is per ton of CO2 equivalent, and compared to a forestry and land use, which is 4.3 euros. So the price can also vary depending on the project selected. So in summary, what are the main differences between offsets and RECs? So first of all, the unit of measure. So for carbon offsets, we're talking about tons of CO2 equivalent, while for RECs, we're talking about megawatt hours. Second, the source. So for carbon offsets, it can be generated by all different types of emission reduction projects, as I mentioned, nature-based solution projects, renewable energy, agriculture. While for RECs, we're really looking at renewable energy projects, specifically solar, wind, geothermal, biomass, and hydropower. And also something that different is accounting guidelines. So saying for carbon credits, they can be used to compensate any residual emissions, so both direct and indirect. However, for RECs, we're really looking specifically at the electricity emissions, so greening the electricity mix of the building. And then the price also can vary. So we're looking at, on average, for carbon offsets, usually from €1 to 15 per ton of CO2. And for RECs, we're looking specifically at megawatt hours. So really to see if it makes sense to do a carbon offset or a REC, we would have to see it both in tons of CO2 equivalent. And so at Climate Seed, we focus specifically on carbon credits, not on RECs. And what we do is that we help organizations support high quality emission reduction projects through the purchase of these carbon credits. So we were launched 2 years ago as the first social business of BNP Paribas, so one of the largest banks here in Europe, and following Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Professor Yunus. So following his social business guidelines. And so what it means to be a social business is it's different from an NGO because we are for profit, but 100% of the profits have to be reinvested into social and environmental programs. So basically at Climate Seed, what we focus is really on these three things, and is ethics, transparency, and credibility. And we want to ensure that your contributions are having the biggest positive impacts, so that you're really supporting these emission reduction projects. So what we offer is really high quality emission reduction projects that have passed what we call a strict 3-step due diligence process. So what it means is that first, all of the projects on our platform have been certified by either a national or international standard. So these are standards like Gold Standard, VCS, Plan Vivo. Secondly, because we were bringing this banking know-how, all project developers have passed a strict banking due diligence. So we're doing an anti-money laundering assessment, anti-terrorism, and reputational analysis on all project developers. And then finally, all projects have been validated by our internal sustainability committee, which is composed of market experts, and they are the ones reviewing the technical and qualitative aspects of the projects. And once we have their final validation, the project is added onto our platform. And then, so today what this means is that we have a portfolio of more than 30 projects in more than 20 countries. And for this, I'll actually go ahead and I'll show you quickly what our platform looks like, and so where we have all the projects. So as you can see here from my screen, this is once you onboard onto our platform. So you have to go through the Climate Seed onboarding process. You get access to the platform, and this is what it looks like. So here we have all different types of emission reduction projects, and you can actually filter them by category, region, or actually the SDGs that you're looking to target. So let's say, for example, I'm looking for a forestry and land use project. I'm looking at Asia specifically. And then I want to target SDG 15 because I want to have a high biodiversity impact. So I'll select that and then I'll hit search. So I tried earlier and by sharing my screen and it wasn't working. So I'll show you how it goes. Perfect. So basically I'll filter it and here I'll have the projects that we have on our portfolio that match my requirements. So for example, let me select this one. So this one is a peatland forest restoration project in Indonesia. So this is what a project page looks like. And here you'll have all the information related to the project. So you'll have a short video of the project. You'll have the project story. You'll have exactly where the project is located. So here we can see in Indonesia. And then you'll have different pictures of the project. So here you can see, you can scroll and you can look at the different pictures the project developer has shared. And then a very important, here you have the project benefits and KPIs. So basically the social and environmental benefits of the project. And then you can actually see how the project is contributing to specific SDGs. So here we have different SDGs that the project targets and how it's contributing to them. Then we have the project developer and the local partners, and then what the sale of the carbon credit actually contributes to. And then as you can see, we actually have the price per ton of CO2. So for this specific project, the project developer has chosen a lower price if a higher volume is purchased. And then what you would do is you would just put here how many tons it is that you want to purchase, update my cart, and it would add it to your cart, and then it would begin the buying process. And then at the end, for all project pages, we also have all the documentation related to the project. So you have, for example, the monitoring report, the verification report, the project description. So it's all that the documentation the project developer has to submit to the standard to certify the project. And this is one example of one of our projects, but we have today more than 30 projects on the platform. So this is it on my side. Feel free to either ask me at the end any questions that you might have. And also you can check out our website. We have more information there. And please feel free to contact us and we would be happy to provide you with more information.
Thank you, Alessandra. That was a great presentation. I can see questions are already coming. We'll try to answer as much as we can. Elena, I've turned over the presentation rights to you. You just need to switch your settings because we're seeing your speaking notes. Just I think in the display settings, if you just swap the presenter view, that should do it. And you can go ahead and unmute yourself as well.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear and see me.
Yes.
That's great. Just a second. And I hope now you can see also the slide, right?
Great, yes.
Yes. So hello everyone from, I think today, very rainy Frankfurt. My name is Milana Milosavljević and I will talk today on behalf of ProCredit Group about our efforts in green buildings, both in our internal as well as external activities. I represent during this session group environmental management of our group. So, who we are, for some of you that might not know us, ProCredit Group is a group of the banks that operates in Southeastern, Eastern Europe, as well as South America, and our headquarters is in Germany. We are focused basically on small and medium companies in countries of our operation, and basically we look at those companies and we believe in those companies are making actually the backbone of the economies and growth of the economies in countries of our operation. From the other side, we also look at and our clients are also private individuals that has capacity to save, and we promote saving rather than consumerism. From the other side, our shareholders are both private and public entities. One of our main shareholders is Zeitung Invest, and they are actually one of our founders. From the other side, we have also KfW, German Development Bank, Doen Investment Fund from Holland, as well as IFC, part of World Bank Group. Our shareholders are also ProCredit Staff Invest program. This interesting combination of shareholders both in private and public sector allow us actually to put in our strategy and our vision sustainable development of those companies that we work with in countries of our operation, to have put high standard of environmental social integration into our operation, as well as to look long-term profitability of development of these companies, but in sustainable manner. Basically, since our foundation, I would need to say, we have committed to sustainable development. But recently, we have also, when United Nations has posted, so to say, sustainable development goals, we have also published our efforts towards many of different sustainable development goals that also previous presenters were showing. Basically, I will not go through all of them, but we'll say that very important is that we have adopted the goals both in internal and external activities. Some of the certification that are proving those are actually environmental social government standards that we have integrated, and we have received the rating of integration, presenting that ProCredit Group represents one of the leaders in the sector that operates in countries that operates in implementation and managing high level of environmental, social, and governance goals. From the other side, we have also put in the internal activities since last decade already environmental management system in place that were recently certified by ISO standards as well as EMAS. Lastly, but not least, we have started using and integrating EDGE certification, and I will talk about that later. We are also signatory of United Nations Responsible Banking Principles, and we would like, as a partners, to work more on integrating and developing further goals for a carbon resilient future. Our commitment in mid-term is actually to have 20% of loan portfolio as green loans, and very proudly we can say that we come recently close to our achievement and then rethink our much higher and ambitious goals. From the other side, in internal activities, we set ourselves the goal to become carbon neutral. And as I said, because since our foundation, we think about so to say, carbon neutral development, we have invested quite a lot in our buildings and our awareness in our operations, and also we come closer to achieving this goal, and I will talk about that also later. Lastly, but not least, our goal is actually to maintain and further increase the high-level competence in social and environmental competence among our staff. We do that over the different trainings that we provide to our staff ongoing over the year for both back office as well as front office staff. Basically, we used to say always that whatever we want to promote to our clients and whatever we want to do together with our clients, we want to see firstly in our yard. We want to experience ourselves in order to be able to really speak about what is the benefits of doing different things. Saying so, we have recently certified some of our head offices with EDGE standard. Basically, we have first EDGE building in Europe and first one that immediately achieved also advanced status in North Macedonia. This building has achieved more than 70% of energy savings compared to baseline in the country. It is highly efficient building, but from the other side, it's not yet zero carbon. We are trying to find the ways how to do it within the next step, and I will say a bit more about that. We also have the first EDGE building in the ProCredit Bank, Georgia, our head office at Tbilisi, certified again as advanced building. We want to say that it's very important that those buildings has received this advanced status, which means that we really do the maximum possible that can be done on site to become energy efficient. And then this additional items in emissions that cannot be somehow on-site reduced could be offset, but we are also thinking about our own offset opportunities. Therefore, we have the first ProCredit Bank Bulgaria has head office Sofia certified its first zero carbon building in Europe. This we achieved over many measures that we have implemented in the building in terms of efficiency, in insulation, efficiency in the choosing the design, in efficiency in choosing the heating and cooling equipment, but as well as producing our own renewable energy and purchasing additional energy that we could not produce on site. So to say, these are currently our buildings in portfolio that we are that we have as EDGE certified. But as I said, we work in 12 different countries, and other head offices in our portfolio are in the way to be certified. From the other side, we are also looking about how to offset additional emissions that we have. And recently, we started developing our own project that we would like to certify with gold standard and use for our operations for the offset that we have. By showing our own example, we would like also to promote, so to say, zero carbon buildings and green buildings to our clients. How we do that and what is our pathway, it will be presented on the next slide. Basically, by, so to say, having own experience, we have collected, integrated, and managed internal know-how among our staff in the banks. Actually, in every of our banks, in every of our subsidiaries, we have environmental management team, which consists of usually as well technical experts and engineers. In ProCredit Bank Ecuador, we also have EDGE certified expert as our staff. Then we, having these experiences, we also try to bring this topic to our clients with the workshops, such as this one today. We work with certification companies such as Sintali and SGS that are, on behalf of IFC, doing the certification process for the buildings, and we have developed with both Sintali and SGS process flow which allows smooth certification process for our clients. Then we also organize, as I said, client workshops. One is the example from Ecuador, but other one that I wanted also to show here, it's example from ProCredit Bank Kosovo. We have organized the first workshop for the clients in Kosovo together with colleagues from IFC and the EDGE team in order to show to our clients in Kosovo what are the benefits of having green buildings for having zero carbon buildings. And basically, those are, as was discussed, for sure, energy savings, then a reduction of cost, then external reputation and this recognition of green buildings, increasing the value of the assets of our clients, as well as having the better offers for financials. Very specific about Kosovo is also needs to be said that actually in the country does not exist at the moment energy code, energy efficiency regulations for buildings, and basically this is really added value of edge integration for certification in the country. By doing all of those, we actually want to create the pathway, as I said, to have carbon resilient future together with our clients. This was it from me today, and if you have any question about our finance, about our works, and about our efforts, you can also read about us in our impact report available on ProCredit's website, or approach us after this webinar. Thank you, Razmir, for hosting us.
Thank you, Milena. I'll go ahead and make myself the presenter again, and we can finish off with a few resources at the end. Let's see. Is working. Great. That was another great presentation to see how it all works, in practice with our partners who, as ProCredit says, they're incentivizing adoption of green buildings through technical assistance and even through some financial incentives. So that brings us into showing you what are the technical assistance options. These include in-house and hired edge experts who are accredited by IFC. And for our investment clients, we do have an option for IFC advisory assistance. Milena mentioned a little bit that some of our certifiers, such as the consortium of SGS and Sintali, have a no-cost option for technical agreement. You can view this option in detail in our webinar, which is posted on the Edge YouTube, and you will be able to get that link after this webinar is over. We do have many options for deeper technical training, including pre-recorded online modules and live stream training. And again, links to all of these options are on the Edge website. IFC also has resources for resilience, Building Resilience Index. The index is available for free from our website, and the training and promotional video are on the Innovate for Climate platform. If you're interested in collaborating with IFC in these pilot stages, please let us know and we can work with you. Just a final reminder that the materials will be shared soon and the recording will be posted on the Edge YouTube channel. I'll now try to respond to as many Q&A questions as I can, and any other ones we will send answers via email, and then I'll remind you to fill out our survey. As you exit the webinar, it will redirect you to our survey. Please note it's not a spam site. So we ask you that you answer the questions to help us improve our delivery. And finally, we acknowledge IFC's donor partners who have made Edge and IFC's work in green buildings possible. These governments and institutions are the reason IFC is able to offer the Edge software application for free, as well as for our awareness raising and promotional activities. Thank you again for joining us today. This is a call to action to utilize Edge resources in your sphere of influence. We hoped we showed you that practical steps towards zero carbon are possible and that they're profitable. We appreciate your interest in Edge and hope you will join us in transforming the construction markets globally. Let me now turn over to questions. One of the main questions that has come through is around methodology. And I've opened up the methodology report. It's available here, where you can see all of the information. So this will tell you exactly how each measure was calculated and what was the information there. And then there's even further information in the Edge user guide. So we'll tell you again, what was the approach, what are the potential technologies and strategies, relationship to other measures, and assumptions. So if you're interested in deeper technical information, you can find that information here. One of the other questions we received was, what if the projects self-certify? And there is not such a thing as doing a self-certification. You do have to go through a licensed certification provider, and you can find that information here. So these are some of the reasons to certify with Edge. You can see that there's a lot more information for each, including a more detailed guide for zero carbon certification. And then when you want to find out your particular country, let's say I can go to something like Croatia, you will find out the information here. So it will tell you exactly who the license providers are. In most of the world, it's either GBCI or Sintali. It will give you the certification prices and the process to follow up. And again, that is available from the certify pages here. Another question was around, where are the projects and where we can see the information. Remember I said that our website has a lot of project studies that are available. You can filter by different project types and the level of achievement. The large website takes a little bit longer to load. So here I can filter, let's say I want to go for advanced, Edge Advanced, and I can see all the different buildings that have achieved that particular typology, including for homes. Once I have the project open, I will find out, who funded it, what was the information, and what were the technical strategies that got them there. So it will tell me their savings, and it will tell me what they actually utilized on site. This particular information can be used for your research purposes, for sort of proof of concept study. And then once your project is certified, we will launch social media promotion and other promotion based on this information. IFC does do a lot for our clients. We have an entire marketing toolkit with examples of how you can advertise your project in the local market to reach you those benefits, faster sales and others. So all of that information is available here. Another question came through around incremental cost, and the fact that IFC has talked about the incremental cost to reach the EDGE standard being many times less than 1% of total construction costs. To be honest, we don't have as much information for EDGE Advanced or Net Zero. That is a newer piece of work, but you can see here that you can do that analysis for yourself. So in the project in Ghana that we mentioned, you can see for my office building, my incremental cost was about $150,000, but I was able to reduce that utility cost reduction on site for a very attractive payback period that's going to be less than a year. One of the things that is going to potentially change some of this information is that lighting before was considered a huge part of our work, and many projects could achieve EDGE Standard or EDGE Advanced through lighting strategies. Now, LED lighting is going to become the baseline. So as we work through projects, we are going to launch more information to show you how that is all going to look like. I mentioned the EDGE YouTube, and I'm going to show it here. There is a lot of information from our clients. You can see that we do paid promotion for some of these videos. So again, if you're a client, it's possible that something that we talk about you gets seen, by 250,000 people. There's a lot more information on the EDGE app right now available in English and Spanish, with more languages coming. That's going to give you information. And then the EDGE webinars are all posted here, including that wonderful discovery workshop that we had with ProCredit. And finally, if you're interested in finding out who is launching incentives, our government pages and our bank pages show already our partners. So if I'm looking after banks, I can see, is there an incentive already available in my country? Or if I'm an investor myself, how can I launch a particular incentive? And so you can see here the incentive by ProCredit, which shows the discount that Milena has mentioned, as well as the EDGE expert support fees that are already included, and this wonderful educational mechanism that we already have. We're reaching the end of our hour together. I'm going to see if there's any other kind of burning questions here, but I promise to answer all of them. A lot of, I think, some of the questions were around the process for certification, working with this, and I would make sure that you reach out to our technical experts. I will show you the resources that you can have for your particular country, whether they are in Latin America or other parts of the world. And we will make sure that you have the information access for Climate Seed. This actually is my last week with EDGE. I am moving on to a different part of IFC called Upstream. So I hope to be working with many of you on more finance-related projects. but I will continue to be your Edge liaison for another week. Any other kind of parting questions from our two panelists? We ran out of time for Q&A, and we'll do that via email, but I want to turn it over to you for any last words.
No, nothing on my side. Thank you very much for having us, and please feel free to contact us, to visit our website and to contact us. Thank you.
Also, thank you from my side. Thank you, FC, for hosting us, and wish to have more zero carbon buildings in our countries of operation.
Wonderful. We do think there's a way forward. I will leave the webinar running for a few minutes because I encourage your questions. I will compile them and answer them via email. And very soon you're going to get the recording of the webinar, as well as all the presentation materials that were shared today. Thank you again so much, and thank you so much for to our speakers again to show you very, very practical ways that we can get to zero carbon. Thanks.